Right there, VC. It's Steve Whitty. It's Sunday morning. This is attempt 2 of doing today's video. I just had to feel I had to put some light on in order for people to see what I was showing. I hope everyone's good. Sunday, bank holiday tomorrow, so it'll be even more relaxing than normal knowing I ain't got work tomorrow. The video today is picking up on a thread that was started by Richard McCook, James Griffiths and John Downing, 6-inch pianist, on showing the favourite producers. So I thought I'll give a go at this. And while watching, I made a big list of producers, and then while watching, then I saw names being shown. I thought I'll have to cross that off. 4 of them, the 5 I'm showing, I think are ones that they've not shown. There is one that's somebody's shown, but I thought I'd highlight their earlier career. So let's start. Number 1, and it is Tony Clark. Now, he was the producer. I'll get a copy of On the Threshold of a Dream. I believe there is a. There you go. Bottom right hand corner. There is Tony Clark. He, I believe, was a staff producer at Decca, who Moody Blues was signed to at the time, and he was sort of assigned to them to produce Days of Future Past. They were given permission. They were asked to do something sort of like to highlight this new sound system that Decca had produced, and it was launched on the using the D-Ran label. And such was the success of that Clark went on. You know, he did the Search for a Lost Cause, On the Threshold of a Dream was shown, and I'll show you two children's children. Such was the success of those albums that he carried on producing the band up until October 1978. Now, unlike the other producers here, he's very much associated with one band. He didn't do much outside the Moody Blues, whether because he was tied into Decca, I don't know. He did produce the Justin Hayward, John Lodge solo, Blue Jays, but amongst other stuff he did produce for the Four Tops the Nature Planned It album, which came out in 1972. Admittedly, it was chock full of Moody Blues songs. I think Simple Game was a hit single for him. And he also ended up producing Planet's Legend album as well. Sadly, he passed away in 2010. But, you know, in sort of like developing prog, it's up there, and some of the Moody's albums are just absolutely wondrous stuff. The sort of textures, the use of the mellotron and that. And as a producer, I think he was very much the ears of the band. Yeah, the band could, at that point, gone, we'll produce ourselves, but they were astute enough to use him. A bit like the Beatles with George Martin. They could have got to the stage where they could have produced themselves, but still cool to use George Martin as that guiding hand. Number 2, I'll show an album by Queen. You'll guess that it's Roy Thomas Baker. He tended to co-produce the Queen albums. He did the first album. You can see he's co-produced with the band, but like everything, you have to have somebody there to, when you've got grandiose ideas, to actually act out on them, because they'll have the technical knowledge. And that's primarily because, like a lot of producers, they started off as engineers, and this is probably one of his best known albums that he engineered on. It's Freeze, Fire and Water, and see their engineer Roy Baker. He wasn't calling himself Roy Thomas Baker at that time. But such was the success of the Queen, so he did the first 4 Queen albums, and he did jazz as well in 78. He did Bebop Deluxe Futurama, which came out in 75. But he came really to the head like the American record companies that sort of, you know, looking to, you know, someone to give them that little bit extra, and made this band journey into a successful band. He produced the see that there. He produced Infinity, and he produced Evolution as well, the follow-up, which turned Journey from sort of like a space jazz rock band into sort of a commercial entity. And then really, he did the first 4 albums for the Cars, and you can tell he's got his fingers on this, the harmonies on here, especially on this album. Makes it sort of stand out. Continued to produce in the 80s. He did have success, quite a bit of success with this, To Pale's Bridge of Sighs, which came out 87. Had a #1 single with China in Hand in the UK, and Heart and Soul was a big hit, top 10 hit both sides of the Atlantic. So it's a relevant producer. So number 3, I've gone for a guy that really at the late 60s, early 70s could not do very much wrong, and was showing the debut Traffic album. I'm talking about, if I open up here, a guy called Jimmy Miller. He produced the first 3 Traffic albums, sort of like developing their sound. He then produced Blind Faith. Where are we? There we go. But probably best known for the classic period of the Rolling Stones. So we're talking, you know, Beggar's Banquet, Let It Bleed, Sticky Fingers, Exile on Main Street, Goat's Head Soup. A run of albums that's, you know, you find very difficult to actually surpass. But being such a creative person does come at a cost, and I think he suffered his addictions, and which sort of affected his work. But he did in the late 70s produce Overkill and Bomber for Motorhead. And probably his last great work, and I haven't got a vinyl copy of this, and I need to rectify it. He produced Primal Scream Screamadelica album. So it was his last hurrah. Right, number 4. More a co-producer than probably a producer. I'm talking Glyn Johns. He was there at some of the classic British rock bands, but sort of bands that he produced. And I think there's one album that I wanted to show that he produced as well, co-produced. You know, well, I got criticised by not having all my records ready, so co-produced Who's Next. The Faces Not As Good As Wink to a Blind Horse, and Ooh La La. The first 2 Eagles albums. Eagles, Desperado. They weren't happy with him when they recorded. He was honest enough to admit that when it came to On The Limit, he wasn't too enamoured with the music, and I think the band Glenn Fry saw that and sort of ditched him. It was a mutual parting of the ways, and obviously the Eagles went on to better things. Sometimes You know, he was. I think I hold my hat up to him on that one because I think sometimes it's very easy to take the money for a production when your heart and soul's not in it. Other art, well, Joan Armour Trading. There's 3 albums in the '70s, self-titled Joan Armour Trading, Show Some Emotion, and To the Limit. Absolutely wonderful albums, some great playing on here, well produced, sort of sympathetically brought out the in a way highlighted the shyness of Joan Armour Trading in these albums. And she did the Stepping Out live album. The album of his, Humble Pie's third album, the self-titled third album. And then he was the man that sort of reigned the clashing, but made him successful. He more mixed than engineered and produced. Other acts he done with Oil early in their career, and the album was trying to look for is Steve Miller's. He produced the first 2 albums, Steve Miller Band's first 2 albums, and co-produced Brave New World, which is behind there. So yes, really, I think influential. And he's got a book out, and I can't remember it live for me, but it's on my Amazon list to purchase. So I do need to. It's a book I need to get. And then the final one, and I did say that I'm going to show mentioned producer that's already been shown, and John down in he showed Robert John McLang. He showed Hysteria and Pyromania. But before he got up to there, he made some absolutely produced some stonking records that made his name totally different to what he's probably famous for, but some really classic, really great albums. So Robert John McLang, he produced Graham Parker and the Rumours Heat Treatment. Really good album. One of my favourite albums of all time. Motus number 1. A bit of country rock, Clover, and there's a young Huey Lewis at the back there. They were based in the UK at that time. This is their album Unavailable. City Boy, he did a few of their albums. This is Book Early from '78. This Robert John Lang, as he called him. The Muck didn't come into afterwards. And it's got 5705, which is the big hit single for him. Probably at that point he was most famous for producing the Boomtown Rats, and I'm really pleased to show this because there was a documentary on the telly last night about the Boomtown Rats, not about Bob Geldof in particular, though obviously he hogged most of it, but the actual band itself. And it was an 18-month period in the UK. They were as big as anything that was coming out of the British Isles. You got the debut album. The Imperious, Tonic for the Troops. A Tonic for the Troops, yeah. He's got Rat Trap, like Clockwork, some absolute stonking songs. And then he produced part, I believe, of the Fine Art of Servicing. As I said, the band was as big as anything at that period. And it's because of the production on these albums that he ended up getting the gig to produce this lot. AC/DC's Highway to Hell, which then the following year led to Back in Black. So those are my 5 favourite producers. Totally different in styles. I think sort of, you could guess they were sort of rooted in the 70s. So there's my choice. Hope other people pick up on this thread. It's actually quite an interesting one. Right, so whatever you get up to today, make sure it's a good one. Now, if you're new to the channel and you've just stumbled across it, click on the subscribe button. The more the merrier. Thumbs up, thumbs down, love the interaction, and feel free to leave a comment. I will get back to you. It may not be straight away, but I do get back to you. So whatever you get up to, VC, this today and this bank holiday or Memorial weekend, make sure it's a good one and you're safe. Until next time, look after yourselves and keep smiling.